Guys, welcome back to another episode of Look Past Limits. This week we're gonna be showing you our truck camper conversion. We call him Ed and he's been our home for last 4 months.
What looks like a normal car to most people, we've managed to comfortably live in for the last 4 months as we travel around the western provinces of Canada. So some of you guys may know us from previous episodes, but if you're new here, we're going to show you how we managed to buy this truck, convert it into a comfortable living space, and
on a budget.
On a seriously tight budget and spend the last 4 months living in this. So let's go take a look.
We're going to make this video earlier in the trip, but we never got around to it. As of last week, we actually started to move out of Ed full time into our new home. When our trip came to the end, it's autumn, it's starting to get really cold here in Canada, so we're all wrapped up in jackets, no shorts and t-shirts anymore here. So
it's been a really awesome vehicle to live in for the 4 months over the Canadian summer. But now that we're into October, it's just getting too cold and the days are getting too short to keep living in a truck. So we've got something really exciting for next week, but you are going to have to wait till next week to see what our new vehicle of choice for living in is. We're still not going conventional, we're still not going to be living in a home.
We're not going to be boring you with a normal house. So.
No. So stay tuned for next week to see the next vehicle, but we'll continue this tour of Ed for now. Before we get on to talking about the conversion, let's tell you a bit about Ed himself and why we decided to choose this vehicle to live in Canada. So it's a 2004 Ford Expedition, actually it's a 2006 Ford Expedition with a 5.4 litre V8 engine, and the most important part is the 4-wheel drive system. So when we came to Canada, we had in our mind that we would buy a cargo van. It would be bigger, it would give us more space. Previous to starting YouTube, we have built and lived in quite a few different size and shaped vans. Most of them have had pretty good systems. Electrics, solar panels, some of them have even had hot water and toilets and whatnot. So this is super basic for us. But in Canada, the price of everything in comparison with Europe is crazy. We didn't have a huge budget for this trip, so we tried to go as simple as possible. And what made us choose the SUV truck idea over the cargo van was purely the 4-wheel drive system. Before coming to Canada, we knew that there was going to be a lot of places off the beaten path that we wanted to visit. BC is awesome for being able to travel up Forest Service roads, going off-road, and so although we haven't used the 4-wheel drive system to its potential, it's allowed us to go a lot of places on this trip that we would not have had the confidence to do had we been in a heavy 2-wheel drive van. So we sacrificed the space and the comfort of the van for the better handling of this vehicle. And actually, as we said earlier, in the summer it really didn't matter. We lived outside all the time. We always managed to find good campsites or places to stay, and so not having a huge amount of space in the truck didn't really matter. We were really just sleeping in here, we were cooking outside, we were living outside all the time. So that's why we chose such a small vehicle, and yeah, let's show you inside now. So where are we going to start the tour?
I guess there is not that much to show you, but welcome to our living room. This is where we spend most of our time. The best bit about it is that the view from the living room changes every day. Next, I will take you to our kitchen.
So here is the kitchen, and because we've been on such a tight budget on this trip, we have actually cooked breakfast, lunch and dinner more or less every day on the whole trip from here. And it's worked surprisingly well. Super simple setup here to put the stove on. There's just a couple of clips and some screws go in to secure it. This piece of paracord holds the weight of the stove, even with pans on it.
Stove is clipped in that he doesn't rattle down the road. And he just goes in here. We just cut little holes to secure it in place that he doesn't slide. And yeah, 2 burner. We managed to cook everything on just this for 4 months.
So we can operate this stove on 2 different gas methods. We've got these small propane tanks here that can plug in the side, or we can use this big gas bottle, which we use most days. It's cheaper and we can get it filled in any gas station in Canada, and that just plugs into the side here. So that's how we use the main stove. And if we are just boiling some water, rather than setting up the full stove, we just use this guy here. We can just sit that on our table and we can just boil a pan of water on there. Let me show you where we keep our water. We carry 32 litres of water with us. We have 2 of these guys that we just usually put on the table and have a tap that we can operate them with here. And we also have the rest is in plastic bottles round about the van, 1 in each door. We've not had any problems finding water in Canada. In some countries 32 litres would do nothing, and in some of our previous vans we've had 100 litre water tanks. But here we just fill up water every 2 days. We can find water at gas stations, at campsites, there's water taps at beaches, by public toilets. We've never had any problem.
So believe it or not, we've been able to store all our food for usually about 4 to 6 days in one of these. There's plenty space. It just actually goes behind this lip and it keeps it in place when we're driving. In another one I have all the dishes, pots and pans, cups and cutlery. It's been working great. I've also had like sauces and some extra food stored in here.
There's slightly less stuff in here than there normally is because we're in this transition just now of moving into the new place.
Yeah, so this mysterious place
that you'll find out about next week. So yeah, usually this is jam-packed with food and extra bits and pieces, but there's a bit less stuff just now.
This is how it would look one day before shopping, I guess. Living in a small place, we need to utilize every little bit. So we actually have been storing like bug spray and hand soap and dish soap on this side. And we also can slide some things on the side there. There's just a little gap.
And what we've also just realised just now as well, that we should have probably washed Ed before we done this video because he's pretty dirty, but hey ho, at least it's real life.
But the best part of this kitchen is this shelf. We actually had a big discussion about this when Steve was trying to persuade me that having a shelf would be the best idea. I wasn't so keen, but I'm so glad that he managed to push this idea through, because we use this shelf all the time for just like, I don't know, taking cups out, having somewhere to put it. I've been even chopping stuff here when I can't be bothered setting up a table, so it's been great for that.
It seems really stupid because if you're comparing this to some real van conversion, then there would be shelves and storage everywhere, but there was a huge debate, as Vendy said, about this, and the debate was whether we were going to lose the bed space here or not. But we thought it was a great idea. Most people would just make the mattress right up to the very back here, but we thought it was a great idea to have this extra worktop space. So we made the shelf and shortened the bed, and I guess that takes us on to an explanation of our bedroom now.
Welcome to our bedroom. This is actually a standard twin size mattress, which in Europe would be a standard double mattress. We bought in Walmart here. It's made of foam. It's a full foam mattress. We just took it out of the cover and cut it. We didn't need to cut it sideways at all, We just actually made a cut here that we can fold it up when we need to get into the storage under the bed, which we will show you later. But it's been super comfortable. We've been sleeping great in the truck. Steve can actually fit in here, no problem. We also have a little storage here on the side for just our toiletries and things what we need on day-to-day basis. You can see in these windows we have the blinds, which are just made out of a camping mat. It's like a roll-out foam camping mat what we cut into the shape. We made stencils of the shape of the windows and cut them to size. We have these blinds and for all our other windows as well. They're stick on with velcro, but that we're able to take them on and off through the day when we're driving. There's a little fan what we can actually run off a power bank. That's been great for the hot summer days.
And keeping it super simple with the storage here again, all we done was screwed down some of these boxes and we use these bungee straps everywhere to keep extra stuff in, and we've got toiletries and stuff in our toiletry bag that we can just grab and take to the shower block with us.
We have built this bed with just enough height that we can store all our stuff underneath, but that we can also sit up inside. Kind of.
The truck is already quite high off the ground and we never go in and out the back, but having this step here and then this step easily allows us to jump up, and underneath here we have all our storage. In order to fit all our gear and belongings underneath here, we actually had to take out all of the back seats. So this was originally a 7-seater, so there was 5 seats to remove. We'll put a link to the video of the conversion and you can see how that went. So when we've been driving during the day, once we arrive to camp somewhere at night, we pull these tables and chairs out. They fold up and they live in the back just on top of the bed. We did think about initially getting a roof box and we kept the space clear thinking that we would get a kayak or a paddleboard or something else, and we never ended up with either, so we didn't need the roof box in the end. We've not had anything on the roof, so that could have been great storage up there. But we'll show you later, we do also actually use the chairs in the evening to prop up the back of the bed sometimes, so it has been helpful to also keep the chairs inside the truck. But anyway, they fold up, they go on top of the bed. You've already seen how this folds up and is stored in here. The other thing that we need to do when we arrive at camp is move the cool box. The cool box lives in here. We opted for this rather than a fridge. We'll talk about more of that later with electrics. But this just fits straight in there. We've usually got some day rucksacks as well that we just leave when we're driving during the day. They just live on top of the bed here and we just throw them in the front in the evening. And that clears the space here for me to get in and out this side. So we've got the truck set up basically split down the middle. I'm the one usually driving, so all of my stuff is on this side. Vendy's usually in the passenger seat, so all of her stuff's on that side. She gets in and out that door and I get in and out the bed through this door. Underneath the bed here we've got all our storage. So we came to Canada with these as luggage. We didn't use hard suitcases. We never use hard suitcases when we're travelling usually because these soft luggage is much easier. So we actually built the bed round about, storing all of our stuff still in these bags. In front of the bags here we've got some extra shoes, and behind here we've got some sports gear, mostly climbing stuff. So the climbing gear, you can see the rope here is all on this side, and then over the back on that side, on Vendy's side, is just some other stuff that we don't need access to very much because the most difficult storage access is this bit in the centre of the bed. All of the kitchen stuff can be pulled out of the back, and we'll show you now how we get to our clothes and the rest of our stuff at here. So if we just need to grab some clothes quickly, we've kept this open here so that we can just go into our bag and grab out what we need from here. If we need to get in to organise it better, or when we do our weekly laundry, then we pull this part of the bed open. So we'll show you now how we do that.
So for us to get under here, we just need to move the bedding, and then we cut the mattress here that we can lift it. We lift it up and usually just clip it in with some bungee cords.
Our favourite.
And then this piece of ply can move. So we just slide it back and we can get access to all our clothes here. So this is the front part of the bed. There's also a middle part which we'll show you now. And the middle part opens up with hinges. So you can just pull it up like this. We actually store stuff what we don't use as often in here because it's just a little bit more of an effort to get in here, but it's working fine for that.
So yeah, to access that part we need to move the mattress back, which is why we don't go in here so often. But having this piece of ply slide back and forward has made it really easy to be able to access our stuff here on a daily basis. So these are the window covers that Vendy mentioned earlier, made from the same material as the ones that are on the back. These ones are fixed there permanently, and these four here can just be placed on each window and they just secure there by Velcro. On the front windshield we use this guy, and on the back windscreen we use this, and it's worked perfectly. They go on and off in seconds. We're having to do this every morning and every evening, so we had to find something that was going to be simple and effective. So when we showed you the cool box earlier, we mentioned the electrics. When we first started building this truck, we thought that we were going to put a leisure battery in the back and a small solar panel on the roof to allow us to charge everything that we need to charge and run a small fridge. We previously in Europe had a really small Citroen Berlingo, which is even smaller than this, and in that we did manage to fit a leisure battery, a solar panel, a fridge on a slide out, but because we moved to Canada and bought this truck and started trying to make the conversion as quickly as possible and get on the road as quickly as possible, there seemed to be a problem finding all of these parts. We then decided to go down the route of a jackery, which is like a large portable power station, and we were going to have a small fridge connected to that. We went through multiple different ideas, and both because of the lack of space and because of how complex it was going to be to make this system, we decided in the end to try with no electrics at all. So Vendy was quite scared about the idea of the cool box.
Yeah, so I was scared going back to cool box and putting ice in it. Like every 2 days you need to change ice and buy a new one. But many years ago we actually done a trip with just a cool box and we managed. You just need to plan your food differently. But as I said, we've been able to carry food for 5 days, and that includes everything. So I just had to choose different things to eat. So this is our cool box. Normally we would put ice in it every 2 days, just wait until it melts, buy a new one. When we have the luxury of staying on a campsite or in accommodation or somewhere where we can freeze these ice packs, they work great. They usually last 3 to 4 days, so that's a great help. We've managed with that. That was the leisure battery would have been running mostly the fridge. Another thing what we obviously need to charge is all our electronics. We've got camera, we've got GoPro, we've got a drone of our phones, laptops, everything. But we have decided in the end that we will just manage with power banks. And actually what has changed from our previous trips, we now had to go to a library every week to make the videos for you guys. So we were able to use the library and charge all our stuff plus all our power banks, and we were able to last for the week every time. So that's what we did.
So yeah, it was a big decision at the beginning when we were making this build as to whether to go down the route of electrics or not, and we were pretty scared to leave without anything, but then we figured that we weren't going anywhere too remote to begin with, that we would try it just with the cool box and without any power supply. And if we really needed it, we could pick it up on the way and stop and do the install. And in the end, we didn't need it. That's 4 months now that we've been living in this, and we've managed without any sort of power at all. As Vendy said, we have quite a few big power banks that we can charge the phones and stuff from, and once a week in the library, and also we were in lots of coffee shops and restaurants and stuff.
Tim Hortons saved it all.
Tim Hortons quite often, so if we went into any coffee shop for a while, we would just take a couple of things in with us and charge them then. And we were stopping places to get Wi-Fi and whatnot as well. So in the end, we managed to save ourselves quite a lot of time and effort. We knew from the beginning that this trip was only going to be for the summer, so we would have spent a lot of time building the solar setup and the battery setup, as well as spending all of the money on it. And we've proven to ourselves in the end that we can go and do it as simply as this, and it doesn't make any difference to the trip. It's been every bit as enjoyable as it would have been if we had had a working fridge or a socket to plug our laptops in to charge.
So that's pretty much all there is to say to our home on wheels. I hope you guys got some good ideas for your own projects. If you want to see more about the construction and actually building this, please check out our video. We'll leave a link in the comments. And also, if you have any questions about materials or stuff that we used, please ask us in the comments. We'll come back to you.
So if you watch van life videos and have had the idea of living van life but don't have the budget for the crazy sprinter van conversions that you see these days, we hope that we've proved that you can do it on a really small budget. This truck didn't cost us much at all, this conversion certainly didn't cost us much, and if you're doing it in the summer, this is all that you need. We've had a great trip, and we don't think that the trip would have been enhanced very much if we had been doing the same trip in a huge kitted out sprinter van. So if you're thinking about it, build your truck out like this, go for it, do it, give it a summer and try it and see. And if you want to see that the awesome adventures that we've had living in this truck, go check out our previous videos and you can see us touring all over BC and the Rockies.
One thing what would be nice to have would be a bathroom. Probably some of you were wondering where our bathroom is. Well, we don't have one, but we managed all summer without it. Definitely helped that it's been warm. Obviously, we had washes in the lakes. We used public toilets. If we wanted a proper shower, we would usually go to swimming pools. There is also campsites. I'm talking like this because most of our trip we actually spent on boondocking, freedom camping. We rarely went to campsites. If you go to campsites, well, you don't really need a bathroom. So it's worked okay. It would obviously be nice to have, so if you have a bigger van, then you've got space for that, but we managed without. So that's it for this week, guys. I hope you've enjoyed our truck camper video.
We're still a really new YouTube channel here, so if you have enjoyed this video, and if you would, please just give us a like, subscribe, comment, anything you can to help the channel out, and stay tuned for next week to see our new tiny home without wheels.
I'm driving down an empty freeway.